This $6 vitamin changed my life in so many ways, and it's so preposterous and it seems illegal. This vitamin was thiamine. Thiamine hydrochloride, vitamin B1, plain old thiamine in a very bioavailable way, made a very profound difference. Always experimenting with things because I have problems and I'm very interested in pharmacology. You know, countries have culture. Thiamine has a culture. If you look at Eamonn Nutrition's YouTube channel, his entire channel is almost dedicated to this B vitamin because it is so important. Yet most people in the world are deficient. There's a poor source through their diet, or they consume things in their diet that naturally depletes thiamine. Honestly, I got it and I really wasn't expecting much. So for this was a tablet, so I just munched on the tablet. Tasted like I was eating chalk, except you do what you gotta do. And I noticed very profound effects because even just taking powder in your mouth, some of it is gonna absorb into your bloodstream just because the mucus or the lining of your gums is very permeable. So compounds can pass through and get into your bloodstream and give you stronger effects because it can skip the GI tract and just go straight into your system, giving you a strong systemic effect. I took it and I wasn't manic, except my mood was very elevated, thought quicker, I was very energetic. And I'll just preface this by saying that I am very sensitive to supplements and I probably was deficient, as most people are, just because I meet some of the criteria to have a deficiency in that I excessively exercise, I eat a high amount of carbs and sugar. 30% of US adults have a deficiency. It is known as the great imitator.
And it's known as the great mimicker of disease because it mimics so many other body situations.
If you have a lot of malingering health issues that nothing has been able to solve, you should look at thiamine. You should consider, at the very least, the daily value for thiamine is around 1.2 milligrams, except that is just to stop a deficiency. That is not for health optimization. The curious thing about all these daily values is that they were originally formulated in the 1950s. And they were just to stop a deficiency, kind of like vitamin C for scurvy, except not for overall health optimization. And that's why if you look at any B complex or energy drink, they'll usually dose some B vitamins like 4,000 times a daily value because of this. You can take higher doses of these B vitamins to great therapeutic effect, and that's kind of what you see. And that is kind of the tale with thiamine, where you can comfortably and confidently dose thiamine at 100 milligrams, which is almost 100 times the daily value. And that's kind of what you want. And there's some interesting research into mega dosing thiamine, just plain old thiamine hydrochloride, for actually putting Parkinson's into remission, which is pretty crazy to say, because if you tell someone that you have Parkinson's, you might as well tell them that they have stage 4 cancer, because you can treat it, but it's not going to get better. High dose thiamine, HDT protocol, and it was formulated by this Italian doctor who's now passed away called Dr. Castoni, forget my mispronunciation, and that's what he found, where he would give his patients 1 to 3 grams of thiamine, and it would actually put the condition into remission. Crazily. Even for something simple like pre-workout. When I was researching this video, I was watching some videos by Dr. Berg, and he was saying that he personally uses thiamine before exercise because he finds he just has more stamina and his movements are better, which makes logical sense because thiamine increases acetylcholine synthesis. It increases ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which is very much the energy currency of the body. And I tried it. I wasn't really expecting much, but I tried it before I practiced soccer. And wow, like I just noticed my movements were so much better. My technique was just so much better naturally without trying, where all my motor skills were just so much better. Like my shooting from long range was better. I was getting more goals into the net. My ball control was better. All of that was better. And I was like, oh, you know, there's something here. And another side step of that is alertness, where, you know, I confess, I have the world's worst morning routine where like I wake up and I go on my phone, which is terrible. It's a terrible way to start your day. Don't be like me. And I think part of it is just because like I take all these sleep supplements to help me fall asleep quickly. But because of that, and because they're so strong, I wake up feeling tired. Kind of like if you ever dose melatonin high at night, you kind of wake up a little bit groggy, and then it's kind of tough for me to get out of bed. So I go on my phone just to kind of wake up. Except I've noticed after dosing thiamine regularly for a couple of weeks that I don't really need to do that as much. Or even if I do that, I can take thiamine and I can just feel a little bit more mentally cognizant. Finally, there is the cognitive side, which is very plentiful for thiamine, and that is what you commonly see. Usually, brain energy equals better cognitive performance because you have more mental resources to devote to the task at hand. And that's kind of one of the theories of how coffee increases working memory, which is kind of a proxy for fluid IQ, just because it gives you more mental energy due to its adenosine antagonism. And that's kind of the similar idea with thiamine in that it gives you more mental energy to devote to whatever you need to do. And that's what I find with it, where I think quicker, I can connect ideas faster, I have a quicker processing speed. All of that is N of 1, so that is just my antidote. And even evidence to that point is that a thiamine deficiency can mirror and mimic Alzheimer's disease because it's so important for cognitive processes. It increases dopamine, which reduces serotonin because oftentimes they have a seesaw effect, as well as it increases antioxidants. And finally, it really spruces up my vision, where colors are just a lot more vivid. And crazily, it almost feels like how I'd imagine like being on low dose of acid feels like, just because everything is so much more vivid. It always blows my mind, the connection between the eyes and the brain, because if you think about it, the eyes are just an extension of the brain. So your eyes kind of are your brain. And oftentimes there is parallels where eye health equals brain health, heart health equals brain health, metabolic health equals brain health, where they're all interconnected. Thiamine is one of the quintessential stress molecules that almost every living organism uses to impact its stress response, which is kind of crazy to say. Along with magnesium, it is very important. You even look at just botany, like plants, almost all of them use thiamine to impact their stress response to biotic or abiotic factors. That being said, I personally have never noticed an anti-stress effect from thiamine, except I'm hoping to one day. That would be nice. Finally, it is essential for carbohydrate processing. There's different forms of thiamine with different effects. I got the best effects from just plain old thiamine hydrochloride, HCl, except there's different forms that work better for different people. There is salbutamine, which is a synthetic thiamine derivative, which is two thiamine molecules binding together. And it is more famous for its nootropic effects, where it has a homeostatic mechanism of upregulating the dopamine D1 receptors through temporarily downregulating them. There is benfotiamine, which I probably butchered, which is a fat-soluble B vitamin that works great for some people. There is TTFD, which is allethiamine, which is naturally found in garlic, that is supposedly more potent for increasing overall thiamine levels. There's a few different options. And if you want to know about the best nootropics overall for improving cognition that I found after experimenting with all these nootropics and many more, check out this video where I talk about the 9 best nootropics for most people that will give you the strongest effects and have the highest safety profile. Check out that video right now.